such a time as this.
And welcome back to For Such a Time as This, a place, the place where there is no such thing as a silent witness. Okay, I got to play a clip. I ran across this last week sometime. J.D. Greear, the president of the Southern Baptist Convention, shared a stage with a man his history has shown to be an anti-Semite, a Muslim. And J.D. Greear's up there. And the Muslim asks a question about religious freedom. So J.D. Greear goes from religious freedoms to Good Samaritan to Christians should fight for the rights of Muslims. I don't know how he did it. Don't ask me. Maybe I'm not smart enough to figure it out. But here's the clip. And then afterwards, here's my 2 cents.
Does your notion of religious freedom include Orthodox Jews, Muslims, black churches, Hispanic Catholics? Does it include those that are also racialized and that are often put on the opposite side of some of the politics that come out of the far right?
Yeah, so, at the beginning you referred to the parable that Jesus told, the Good Samaritan. And one of the characteristics of that parable was that it was somebody who was very different. The Samaritan and the Jew had different ethnicities, they had different religions, they were considered societally enemies. And one of the things that Jesus was teaching through that is the test of virtue and love is not how fervently you fight for your own rights or the rights of people that are like you, but will you give that same amount of devotion and care to people that are not like you? And so, yes, I'm grateful for those that are fighting for, Christian rights, so to speak, in the public square, but that's not really, that's just self-protection. That's all that is. That's self-interest. Everybody does that. Really what Christ-like service is when Omar feels like that I'm fighting for the blessing and the rights of his family and his rights as much as I would my own. Because that's, that would be what we believe that Jesus did. And I think that's an area that Christians retreat into self-interest rather than Christ-like servanthood.
There must have been some books of the Bible that I missed. I don't remember Jesus fighting for the rights of those who practice false religions. You'll have everyone. But anyway, just want to go down. So the notion of religious rights is put to J.D. Greear, and he says from the far right. I don't know what that means from the far right. Is he saying that the church is the far right? Everything is being spoken of in political terms. Far right, and then JD answers. He goes to, I guess, earlier in the conversation, the parable of the Good Samaritan came up. Then he talks about the Good Samaritan, and then he interprets what the Good Samaritan was all about. The Good Samaritan, and again, maybe I'm not smart enough. No, I ain't gonna say that. This is crazy. So you take the Good Samaritan and you use it in a way in which you say that the Good Samaritan taught about fighting for rights, not only rights of Christians, but of rights of others. Excuse me. First of all, I didn't know the church's mission was to fight for rights. And even he says, well, when Christians fight for so-called Christian rights, what verse is that? I guess it's the Good Samaritan, but I thought the church was supposed to preach the gospel, the message of a man being reconciled with his creator through the blood of the cross. I thought that's what the mission of the church was. I thought Christians were supposed to preach, be reconciled with God, and then the way you love God is by obeying him and loving his children, and that wrath was coming, and that we wanted to escape the wrath of God coming, because when God comes back, he's going to set everything right. I thought that was the mission of the church. And how should the church relate to Muslims? How should the church relate to those of false religions? Fight for their rights? Boy, there are some Bibles, there are some books in the Bibles that are missing out of my Bible. Obviously, because the books in my Bible says this: for the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ, being ready to punish every disobedience when your obedience is complete. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion. So the argument that Muhammad was the greatest prophet of the true God, lie. I'm going to love the Muslim by telling him he practices a false religion. I'm not going to fight for his rights. I will not discriminate against him. I will not beat him. I will not be aggressive physically towards him. But I darn sure is not going to make him happy in his false religion, nor am I going to fight for his rights. Christians aren't told to fight for their own rights. What verse is that? I don't remember. I don't remember. Religious freedoms? Yes, I am very thankful for that. Very, very, very thankful for that. I am thankful for the freedoms we have in this country. Absolutely. Absolutely. But you see, that's Marxist thinking, fighting for the rights here on earth. Fleshly man, that's Marxist. Christians don't fight for rights of others. That's Marxist. No, the mission of the church is to tell everyone, Muslims, Catholics, Baptists, evangelicals, there's a reckoning with creation coming. His name is Jesus. The suffering servant, we won't ever see that again. The next time we see Jesus, he will be a conquering king, and you better get right with him. That's our message. That's what we preach, fighting for the rights of Muslims and Sikhs and Hindus and Buddhists. What? How did he get elected president?
For such a time as this.